Trying to look up here.
I know, I keep forgetting.
So I'm not sure if anybody saw that at all. Oh, there it is. There it is. It's our new opening credits. So exciting. All right. Awesome. It's working. It's working. Thank you, everybody. And sorry for the delay. We had a little snag with streaming key, but we got it figured out and we are here and we've got a great show for you. Our first of 2025. Excited about that. Live on YouTube. My name's Jeff Olson. I'm the Art Education Director for Royal Talens North America, and I will be your host today. If you follow or like us, click on that link down there. Live in Canada or the US, you'll be eligible to win a set of Rembrandt oil paint today. So we'll make sure we give that away at the end. All you have to do is ask a question, make a comment in the chats, and you'll be eligible. And we're going to have one lucky winner at the end. So we have got a great first show for you for 2025. We have a wonderfully talented and admired guest with us today, one of our original ambassadors. She is going to share a little bit of her work today and also give us a wonderful demo. So just a little background. In 2001, she was invited to join a group of painters under the tutelage of renowned artist Richard Schmid. The vision that she bestows with every brushstroke comes from a lifetime of intimate contact with nature. Along with her passion for nature and the interconnectedness of the natural world, she is also an avid gardener and spends many pleasurable hours close to the flowers that she paints so magnificently. She is an exhibiting artist member of the National Arts Club in New York City, where one of her paintings was selected for the permanent collection. She is also a member of the Salmagundi Club in New York, where her work is also a part of the permanent collection there. She's a master signature member of the Oil Painters of America, a signature member of Allied Artists of America, a signature member of Connecticut Watercolor Society, and a charter member of the Putney Painters. She received many awards, including the President's Award of the National Arts Club Exhibiting Artist, member first place for Still Life at the Salmagundi Club, Still Life Show in Color. She exhibits nationally, has been featured in Plein Air Magazine, Southwest Art, American Art Collector, American Artist Studio, and the list goes on and on. Everybody, please join me in welcoming Kathy Anderson. Kathy, how are you?
Great, Jeff. Thank you for all of that made-up information.
All wonderful accolades and well-deserved. Absolutely. It's
Same.
so great to see you. Great to see you.
Yes, you
Great to
too.
have you here. Everybody, thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to put down some comments and chat with us. We can't wait to engage with you guys as we're going through this. It's a wonderful thing about being on a live show. We actually get to interact with everybody who's watching, so I'm excited about that. All right, how we're going to do this today. So I've got a short interview for what Kathy and I are going to kind of go back and forth and talk a little bit about what she does as an artist. Then we're going to share some of Kathy's paintings I have in a slideshow. So I'm going to share that slideshow, and Kathy's going to talk about her paintings as we go through them. Just a few of them, because we want to make sure we save enough time at the end for the demonstration. So with that said, Kathy, how are you today? You're in your studio where?
Reading, Connecticut. Very cold. I have a space heater on me right now where my cat was sitting 2 inches from it.
Any snow?
Yeah, we do have snow, actually. Not a lot, about 7 or 8 inches.
A little bit.
No?
It's actually cold here in Seattle too. No snow, no snow. We haven't had any of that yet this year, but a little chilly, but nothing like what you guys are having on the East Coast for sure.
I
So the
like the cold.
questions, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said I like the winter and I love the cold.
There is. As long as it's sunny out, I don't care if it's cold and snowy. All right, I've got a few questions for you. And of course, being the art education director for Royal Talens, I've got to ask you about your materials. You use Rembrandt oil paint, right?
I absolutely use Rembrandt oil paint.
So what is it that you love about it? Why do you
Oh
like
my God, they're buttery. Their colors are just gorgeous. They are completely my staple. Seriously, when I start my washes, they're beautiful transparent colors, and What do I like about them? Everything. I mean, they're great. Actually, what I'm going to demo later today is some doing some washes and how I start paintings, and a couple of different combinations I use that are pretty, I rely on because they work with almost everything.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be really cool. This is a question that I get a lot, and I think everybody's got a different answer for it. But is how do your materials contribute to your success as an artist?
Well, you know what? I tell that to students all the time. I mean, no matter what your sport or your hobby or anything is, if you don't have good equipment, you're fighting your equipment all the time. If you're a musician, you have a crappy saxophone or something, how are you going to make beautiful music? So for me, my paint, my surface, and my brushes, absolutely. I get the best that I can afford, and I keep my brushes really well. I take really good care of them, and I always put the caps back on my paint. And your equipment is really, really important. Whatever you can afford to do, upgrade to the best equipment. You'll be so happy that you do that. I mean, I every workshop I teach, I take extra paint with me so that I can squeeze out the color that everyone can try. I want them to be able to try it before they invest money, and they can immediately see the difference.
Yeah, yeah, it's really important. I agree. It's the foundation that you build everything else on top of, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So here's a fun question. We talked about your love of gardening, and of course, your subject matter reflects that. Which passion developed first, painting or gardening?
Yeah, I was reading your questions actually, and I think that they were simultaneous. I've always loved gardening and flowers, and I've always loved painting. And the very first painting I ever did was flowers and birds. I remember. So I can't say one came first. I've been in the garden and in nature my entire life. So and I feel like I've been drawing and painting my whole life too, or at least something in art. So
Do you
the
think painting the garden makes it look, do you think painting the garden, makes you look at it differently?
yes,
Yeah.
definitely, most definitely. I plant my own garden to actually with paintings in my head. Believe it or not, the colors, the compositions, the way I paint, the way I plant the garden. Of course, that none of that works in the middle of July when the bugs eat everything and I can't keep up with the weeding. But it's a good thought anyway. That's what I do. But that doesn't mean you have to garden to be a flower painter or to be a garden painter. I that's why I have good friends like Joanne Manji, who's a master gardener and has a giant garden that I go up and paint at her house.
I know she's got a wonderful area, doesn't she? That's really
Yeah,
cool.
she does.
We've talked about this as well too, and that's the importance of painting from life. Can you talk about
Mhm.
that a little bit?
It's absolutely essential to be able to paint from photographs at some point in your life. If you don't have experience painting from life, you won't be able to replicate the colors, the feeling, the temperature, the values. You just do not see it from a photo. And the proof is right now I'm working on a big painting because I want to enter a portrait society, and I'm not a portrait painter. And it's a painting that I of many photos I took at a jazz club, Birdland in New York. And I'm trying to do it from a photo. And because I don't have the total experience, I have to do so much research, and I'm going back. I actually went back to Birdland to see what the light looks like on people's skin and that sort of thing. So, but I could paint a garden in the middle of the winter from a photograph, half photograph, half my head, because I so intimately know what is going on there. I know what the deep, rich background looks like. I know how the light falls on leaves, and it's my and that's why people that paint portraits can paint them from photos when they paint, because like my good friends Sue Lyon and Scott Burdick, they've painted thousands of heads from life, and
Yeah,
therefore they can paint from photographs, and it's you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
yeah. And then the experience of seeing, right? They have so much built up over time. I
Mhm.
mean, I think photographs can be a great tool, but you do see things when you're there in person. You feel things, right? And that
Oh
transfer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, when I go out in the landscape, because I go out west almost every year at least once, and painting the landscape and getting into the woods and seeing the river and seeing the trees, and then I come home and I can paint it authentically.
Yeah.
So yeah, you really, life training is so important for a starting artist.
Yeah. I think that was a great word for it, authenticity,
Mhm.
authentic experience. Yeah. Well, one more question before we jump into looking at some of your paintings, and that is about teaching. So you do a lot of demos like today, and you also lead workshops. Why is it important for you to teach? What do you get from it? What do you like about it?
Well, the first time when I first started teaching, I was so scared because I thought, oh my God, I can't well, first of all, I don't articulate well anyway, but I thought, how can I can't articulate anything. I can't say, I can't remember anything when I'm starting to teach. So when I started to teach, I realized, oh my God, this is helping me more than it's helping students, because I usually write to my workshop students before and say, please write to me and let me know what you really want to learn in this workshop, so that I can make sure I know how to answer the question during the workshop. So I do a lot of research and a lot of practice, and I have learned so much from teaching that I love it, and I love teaching. I really do. It's watching people suddenly grasp something. It's very, very exciting. But I'm sure almost every artist will say the same thing, that you get as much from teaching as you do from as much yourself from teaching as you do from teaching other people, just because you have to know what the answers are. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. All right, let me share my screen. I am going to bring up some of the wonderful images that you sent to me, and you let me know when you can see them.
I can see it.
All right, so tell us about this painting.
Well, I just had a solo show with 46 paintings in New York in the National Arts Club, and I segmented it into seasons. So I had one really large painting for each season, and then a bunch of medium size and small. So this painting was painted from life in my garden. I took my big Gloucester, one of those crazy Gloucester easels. I take it out to the garden. I probably went out to the garden 3 or 4 times with I forgot what size this is. It's pretty big though. I don't know. Can you see the size there?
I
It doesn't
can,
matter, but it's big. Um, anyway, I took it out to the garden, and every night I would drag the easel into the garage and leave it in the garage. And all those peonies, they change every single day. So as I went out, I would complete whichever flower it was I was doing. I would almost complete it. Um, then I brought the painting into the studio for probably, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4, I don't know how many more times, because I was under such pressure to get paintings done for the season for the show, that I had to keep making starts and then, get finishes as I went along. So that's when I used photos just for drawing, and maybe I took a painting out one more time to get like the background or the depth. But this is a plein air painting, even though it's I don't know, it's like 30 by 40 or something. I forgot.
32 by 42, I think is what I had written
Yeah.
down. Yeah, yeah.
So
No, which is good size.
yeah, yeah, it was fun to
Absolutely.
take it out there. You just get such a feeling, even when I wasn't even looking at the flowers outside, just the feeling of standing there in the middle of my garden just gave me like the energy to keep going, and to paint it, just by being immersed in the garden. So,
Your treatment of the flowers is so fun, and the change of them as they go back in the distance. And I really like the composition too.
thanks. Which
Yeah,
of course is manipulated. I mean, there's no such thing as something like that being perfect in the garden. In fact,
right.
that top peony is the one all the way on the left on the top. That's the first flower I painted completely from life in one, go, because that was the most beautiful one with the best light on it. Others I moved around, and
Yeah, you have to, right? It's all about the painting once you get going.
That's very true, Jeff. It's all about the painting. So this painting, which is also really big, if you could find the size. Sorry, I should know the sizes.
I think it's about pretty close to the same size. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, it's bigger. I do remember that. However, this is completely from a photograph, this painting. And this is gets completely back to what I was talking about is that I used to be one of the Rocky Mountain plein air painters, and I've gone out west to paint probably for 20 years. And I always go for things like the aspens and the waterfalls. And I'm not really so much attracted to painting mountains, even though I love them. I look for the wildflowers and the little deer that's in there, and mule deer. I was painting with my friend Susie Heyer, and we actually saw like a whole bunch of deer walked in front of us. And so this is photographs from a probably a plein air painting, a couple of plein air paintings that I did out there. I saw the deer, so I don't like to paint animals unless I've really seen them and they're my own. Well, no, I take that back. They don't have to be my own photographs because a lot of my bird paintings, like if I see a cardinal out in a certain, in the quince bush, so I know that they are there in that quince bush, then I'll pull a cardinal off the internet, or I have files and files of, photos and what? My dead bird. I have dead birds in the freezer. John just thanks to my little kitty cat. Actually, I just rescued a bird today that my stupid cats had in the mudroom. A little bird, and he was fine. They just brought him in.
Those cats, you gotta watch them.
Anyway, so
34 by 50.
Totally photographs from photographs. Probably a compilation of photographs.
Gotcha. So 34 by 50 was the dimension that I had for this. So yeah, really good size, 50 inches.
Yeah, it's really big.
Yeah. I love the light that you're using here, especially in the foreground. It's almost like it's set up. Really wonderful.
Did you say the light or the
white?
Light?
Yeah, the light.
Oh,
I mean, the light in the background where the sun's coming through, but the way you've kind of highlighted the flowers, almost like a photographer, it really is beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that. Actually, that painting is shipping to England this week because Rosemary from Rosemary and Co. Bought it from me.
Oh,
we're shipping it, so I'm gonna. I guess I'll always get to see it because I always loved it.
So. Yeah. Oh, that'll be great. All right.
Okay, this was also part of my solo show. This was a summer, in the summer section, and this is smaller. I think this is like 11 by 14. Also, all the flowers are from my garden, the hydrangea, then the nasturtium. When I set something up like this, I'm really looking for that movement of the nasturtiums following a path and coming down. And I love like the archway and the drape with the hydrangeas. So you see, I put the hydrangea on the right side, and then I make sure I have a couple of little ones on the left side too. And I don't do light backgrounds a lot, but I did on this. And I probably started off with a wash of cobalt and a yellow ochre kind of, which makes like a gray, beautiful gray wash. And then when I go over it with whites, it turns into that kind of a beautiful gray color. Not sure how much that shows in the photo, but but when you paint something like this and you set it up, it'll last me probably 2 days and not move very much. Nasturtiums will. Depends on the flower. That's, tulips move so fast. It's very hard to paint them from life in one go. But this I probably did I would set it up. 2 days I get with it. If it takes me longer than that, good photo. I can go out and pick more nasturtiums. Just, if I need the one that's sticking up, I just pick another one and hold it up. The hydrangeas pretty much lasted. So, and then I just have it on my still life stand here, and there you go.
Is some of the glazing technique in this painting?
I don't really glaze. Okay. What I've started to do that I love is scumble.
Okay.
With some of the rosemary bristle brushes. I like to scumble and put it on, in like masses and then go over it with opaque paint on top. But I don't really glaze so much.
Yeah. There's just some wonderful it looks like some transparencies and transparent colors and things in there that are showing that are really nice.
Thanks.
And I agree, cobalt and yellow ochre, cobalt and burnt sienna, they make wonderful grays. I've been playing around with some of those recently myself.
Yeah, they do. Beautiful grays.
Yeah.
Oh, that painting was, that's a plein air painting. That one is what, 18 by 14 or something like that, I think.
Yep.
Hey, what do you know? That is a plein air painting that I did in England and Rosemary and house, actually, Rosemary and Co. at her house. And we were there last summer with a bunch of us were there, and we went to Scotland afterwards, but I painted that out right out in her patio. She has unbelievable gardens. Anybody that takes workshops in Yorkshire gets to go over Rosemary's house, and oh my God, her gardens are just to die for. So that was painted live. I think I went out maybe 2 times at her house, and then I brought it home and I had to finish it from photos because I couldn't finish it there.
Yeah.
So.
What a great opportunity. Do you go out there annually or?
Kind of. It seems like it. I'm not really, but I've taught. I think 3 times or maybe 4 times I've taught. But last summer we just went and did. I didn't teach, which was we just went for a vacation. It was Sue Lyon, Scott Burdick, Richie Carter, Simi, Rosemary, Joe, Simi's.
Oh, what a wonderful group.
It was fabulous. We had such a good time.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Good times.
All right, we got one more painting, I think, before we get to the demo here.
Okay, this also very, very large. I think it's close to the Teton painting.
Yep.
This painting was completely from a photograph because it's so large. And however, I took photographs. That's in my driveway, actually. I took photographs probably 3 years ago. The sun on the snow, it was so beautiful. But I knew that I could not paint it from a photograph without. I do paint snow from life. Not this week because it's like 12 out. but I had to wait like I think 2 years. I had to wait before we had enough snow that it was exactly that scene in the driveway. And I ran outside and I did a small, I think, 9 by 12 or an 8 by 10 plein air out in the driveway of the same scene. And then I was able to come in, and actually it's not something that I really like to do and I do well is paint a large painting from a study. I know a lot of people do that, of course, but for me, sometimes I lose that energy. I don't like to replicate what I've already done, kind of, but I wanted so badly to do this painting big, and I still have this painting. I'm not sure I'm going to send it anywhere. I really like it. Might hang on to it.
I like it a lot too. I love snow paintings.
Me too.
And then this one too, I was going to ask you how you decided to pick this particular view or this particular bush, because this thing looks like it's alive. It looks like it's moving towards me.
Thanks. Actually, that's my giant quince hedge that I paint all the time in the summer. I painted it with cardinals in it. I've painted, cut branches from it, and it was the way the light was hitting the snow. That's the reason I hit it. I painted it. So mostly I did it from the photos, but mostly that was done from the little plein air piece, which was in the show. I had like the big painting, and then I had the little one next to it. So
well, that's always cool to see. I like that. Yeah, yeah. It's a great subject. It really is alive. It really is alive.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right, I think this is the last one, so I'm going to stop my sharing there. And we got you back front and center. All right, so let me go ahead and spotlight you, Kathy.
Okay.
And then going to turn it over to you for the demo.
Okay.
And I'm going to start monitoring our questions here and let you kind of have at it.
Okay. So what I was going to do today, just move it over a little bit, or I can move the easel. There you go. So what I was going to do today is what I was talking about is doing a couple of different combinations of washes and show you how much fun it is to actually put like the opaque paint on top. This is an example. I did this also as a demo once. So I put the wash on and then I pulled out with a paper towel to get some clean color here, and then painted using some of the background wash into the shadow color. So I'm just going to copy this because I don't have any roses right now. I'm working on a painting of dead tangerines and dead roses. that actually, John, you want to show them? Can you move that? I'll show you what I'm working on right now, and it's the same kind of a thing. I'll show you. See, these are dead roses that actually dried nicely. And here's the painting that I'm working on. And it's really a pleasure to work on a painting that I don't have to worry at all. I've been working on this on and off for like 4 or 5 days, and I don't have to worry. Everything is exactly the same except for one really rotten clementine in there, but everything's exactly the same. So I don't have to worry about things dying and moving and having to replace them. Anyway, the first one I'm going to do is, anyone that studied it with me knows how often I use this combination, transparent oxide red and viridian, or transparent oxide brown and viridian. Transparent oxide red. So can you see, are you looking at the palette or no? So it's all right. I'm just going to tell you anyway. So the thing is,
I can come to the palette.
okay. That's good.
You're going to have to step aside a little bit.
But then you'd have to go back and forth. So I'm not sure how.
I know.
I'm just going to, I'll go to the palette once and I'll show you, because one of the things, sometimes people use way too much Gamsol, and sometimes they use way too little Gamsol. If you use way too much, you're going to get a very pale, washy color. So I'm using, you can come back, because I'm not going to keep going back and forth to that. I'm using just enough. So I start putting it on and I say, oh, I need a little more transparent oxide red. So that's kind of this color that this one rose is here. So I'll put this on, and I'm not putting it on, painting it. I'm just being real free and making it real brush strokes, interesting, going in different directions. So that's transparent oxide red, Rembrandt. And
Best color ever.
best color ever, exactly, and viridian. So then when I want to paint sometimes I can do this. Now this works sometimes if I'm doing a landscape. I use this combination a lot with a landscape because it's looks like what's earth is. It looks like what's out there. You can take your paper towel and just kind of run over it like that, and it instantly looks like grass. Or you can take a nice soft rosemary brush and do that and make it look like. But what I try to stress with everybody is how important it is to pay attention what your wash looks like, because this is part of your painting. It's not just a background, it's part of your painting. So if I want to paint this yellow rose, I'm just going to copy this one here to show you what I did. So I'm going to look how I can get right down to the white canvas. So I'm going to pull it out. Dipping into the Gamsol where I know if my lightest light is. But then for the rest of it, where it's in the shadow, I'm not dipping into the Gamsol. I'm just kind of I'm going to use that color as part of my shadow color.
I had a question about what that surface is again.
This is the Centurion's OPDLX, the pads.
Pads. Okay.
But I do have to say that I think that they have changed their quality control somehow. Because this is an old pad, and I can get right down to that white canvas, which it's an oil prime. It's a double oil prime linen on a pad. It's an inexpensive way to have a good surface to work on. If you happen to turn out and make a beautiful painting out of it, then you have to mount it on something. You know, you have to use, like I use an adhesive I buy from Jerry's, and I put the glue on the back of the canvas and on my surface, my prepared surface. So if I want to put the rose, I'm just using solid yellow here for this beautiful the light part.
Try to stay right.
Oh, sorry. And then this Rembrandt's transparent yellow green is another color that I absolutely love. But I'm going to go right over this without having to wipe that down, because you see the color, I'm picking up the background color for yellow. And that's okay, because it's a beautiful transparent color. I'm only going to take like 5 minutes to do this, because the point is I want to show you about the washes. But you see how I'm able to go over that color. Now, if I wanted if I was going to start painting, I'm just going to take some yellow and go over this without wiping it up. You see instantly I'm picking up that background, and that's why I do the pulling it out with the paper towel. So now I'm adding a little of the cad yellow deep in here. It's a little hard for me because I'm standing at an angle, so I have no idea what this looks like. But that's not the point.
Well, I remember that transparent yellow. I think it was the last time we were at Plein Air together, and you mentioned it to some people, and then I immediately sold out.
It's a great color, transparent yellow green. I mix it with yellow ochre, and mix it with cad yellow deep, orange. And you have to play around with it. It's kind of almost like you're doing like a little Richard Schmidt color chart, and play around with it to see what it does. I just put a little bit of white in here to do the lips, see? Then a little bit of transparent oxide red. Okay, so the point that I'm making here is very light touch, but I'm pulling up some of the background for the actual shadow shape of the rose. I don't even know if this is a rose or a tulip. Doesn't matter. Put a little dark in here. It's tricky. You have to have a very light touch. Otherwise, you do pick up the background. Anyway, that's all I'm going to do on this, because I'll take a little alizarin. I'm just adding a tiny bit of white to this, just to indicate another petal here. See what a tiny bit? Little bit goes a long way. Okay, so enough of that one. I actually wrote these down. Okay, ivory black. This is another one. Clean my palette. I don't think people realize, when I used to paint with Richard, how he would be so conscientious about cleaning his palette, cleaning his brushes. And I know there's lots of incredible painters that are able to not do that, somehow have palettes that I couldn't paint on in a million years. But I was trained so well with Richard to keep everything clean. What he used to say is anything that's on your palette is going to wind up on your canvas. So I'm going to take some ivory black and some transparent yellow gold. Is that what I always get these names mixed up? Oh no, I'm sorry. It's transparent oxide yellow. Sorry. Transparent oxide yellow. Rembrandt. And I'm going to paint a little stone wall. So same thing again. Clean my brush. Take a little Gamsol. This is the most beautiful color, this combination. Sometimes I use yellow ochre with it too, but look how pretty that is.
Wonderful.
So that's just a transparent oxide yellow and black. And I'm going to paint a little stone wall. So it's like just enough combination of Gamsol so that you get the paint on, but you don't want to put so much on that it becomes so thin. So I started loving this combination when I started going to Yorkshire. I'm putting a little more black in. When I started going to Yorkshire and I saw all those incredible stone walls with their moss all over them, you know how that is. Need a little more transparent yellow green. Just going to put a little bit of green in here too. Oops. Can hardly even see it. So if I was doing a stone wall, just a little darker. So this one, I would probably, I want the texture because of all the texture in the rocks. So I'd kind of just get a little bit of texture. Come this way a little more. I'm totally making this up because, what did I say? Because I paint stone walls is another thing I absolutely love to paint. So when you paint a stone wall, you have to know what the structure is of a stone wall. You have to know that the rocks have to be able to weight each other and fit together. So I'm not going to take it all the way down to the white.
Stay
at first. But actually, I should have put, I don't have enough black in this. I should have put more, but that's all right. It doesn't matter. This could be just, it doesn't matter. But you see what I'm doing here? I'm just pulling out little rocks and leaving the background color as the ground.
It's wonderful.
You're slipping into the.
Oh,
there. Sorry. That's okay.
Sorry.
Now you have to introduce yourself now that you're jumping into the show.
Well, I'm studio boy.
Studio boy. This is just to let you know, I could not do any of this stuff if John wasn't with me. John does he's my shipping department. He does my website. He does, like when I have all my computer stuff, like I'll write it out, but he does it all. on the computer, enter shows and stuff, because I'm really very incompetent, actually.
It's always
But
great
I
to have a
suppose I said,
live-in studio assistant, right?
what's that?
It's always great to have a live-in studio assistant.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? It's something that I always say is that when you get to a certain level of professionalism, it's almost impossible to do this without some kind of help.
Yeah.
Really, if you're lucky enough to afford, somebody to help you with. Yeah, he does. I say he does my website too, or or you marry somebody.
That's right. You either pay him or marry him,
Oh, marry them, exactly.
Do I get a choice?
That's somewhere. It was somewhere in the contract, John. It was somewhere in the contract.
No, I've reduced John to tears, which is why. Oh, he's my framer. Did I say that? Oh my God, he's a master carpenter, not by trade but by hobby, and he was very excited about building furniture when he retired, and that never happened because all he does now is build frames. And I mean, I supplement them with red Ashby, and so now there's my blueprint for a rock wall. So now I would take a wall like this, and I'd take some of that black with the yellow, and maybe some of it I'll come in. And when you paint a wall like this, you don't want to go lines around every rock. That's what looks like an amateur rock wall. So you do just some of them here and there. I would love to teach a landscape workshop, but I don't think anybody would sign up because everybody wants me to paint flowers. But I would love to teach a landscape workshop. It would be so fun. But when you paint the rock wall, you have to think about, the rocks aren't all the same. You got to make sure that you alter them, their sizes. And how am I doing time-wise? Okay, so I'm not going to go into this too much. Now I would take by the way, your brushes are really important too. When I go over something that's wet like this, when I'm working on it, what was I going to say?
Brushes.
If I don't have a soft brush and a light touch, I am going to pick up the background. And sometimes I don't care if I pick up the background, as in the shadow side of that rose. And sometimes I don't want to pick up the background. So now I just added some white to this color.
Whoops.
Whoops, what?
I just
He said
accidentally
hello. Yeah, he came in.
the part of the screen that switched it to me.
Oh. So, I've got white here. I'm going over the light part with the white.
My pay increases when I go on camera.
That's right. That's right. Every line gets extra money.
And then maybe I'll go over the shadow. I just put some transparent yellow green rather here. So I might do that with some of the rocks here, and but I'm going over the background color, and I'm not going over the whole thing so that you can see what's underneath. I think that's the point I'm trying to make. Maybe I had to make that point clear. I want to see what's underneath sometime. I'm gonna actually, what do I have, 10 minutes? I'm gonna do a tree next, so. Oh, I was gonna do, okay, so that's enough, right? I can't do any more than that. And sometimes if I find, oh, look, I'm putting too many lines in between there, then I'll just go like that and brush them out, start again, okay? So the next one, what I'm just gonna do is transparent oxide red. No, transparent oxide brown and ultramarine. Oh my God, I have to go faster, huh? Okay, so transparent oxide brown and ultramarine. I'm going to do an aspen tree.
I just love all the textures and effects you get just with a few simple gestures. Really
I
nice.
know. Now look how beautiful that is.
Oh, that is nice.
Another transparent oxide brown and ultramarine. Another beautiful gray.
Yeah.
Want to get to the orange. I was going to do an orange too.
Grays are really important, aren't they?
Pardon?
Grays are really important.
Grays are very important. And that's something I'm really working on. It's I feel like it's one of my weaker points is I like warm colors and bright, pretty colors, and without having a gray or a neutral, it's not so pretty anymore. It doesn't, you need to balance it with the gray. I'm going to make this a little longer. Once again, I'm just going to make this up. So take my paper towel, dip it in the Gamsol, and I'm just kind of try to make a part of an aspen tree. When you're painting trees, no tree, well, that's not true. What tree is totally straight down? I can't think of one right now.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much every tree goes out and then it comes in, because that's the way trees grow, out and then in. And if you do it with your brush stroke kind of going like that, you get a beautiful, more of a feel of the form.
Slide over to the right a little.
Sorry.
Wiping out is such a fun technique.
I love that. I don't know if anybody knows who Dennis Sheehan is, but he's a tonalist painter. He was one of our Putney painters many years ago, and he's actually he was in a tonalist show at the Salmagundi Club last year. I haven't seen him in so many years, and I saw him. But that's that's the way he would paint. He would put a tone down, and then he would pull it out. And I love it so much because it's so freeing. You're not invested in anything. I don't start off with a drawing. I start off with just, it's more of a value sketch. If this is going to be my shadow side. So I'm just going over this with some white. And then I know that underneath, when the tree starts turning, I don't know. When I try to talk and paint, I get, a little crazy. A little crazy. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Maybe make one a little bit. And then how aspen trees, if you look at Richard Schmidt's landscape book, and it's one of my favorite paintings in the world is his aspen. It's a field of aspens that he does. And at the bottom of it, I just did one piece of it there. He takes this ultramarine and transparent oxide red and just put that on at the bottom, right? Just kind of, how the aspen trees have that, you know what they do. I can't explain it. They have that real dark stuff.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. And look, I'm just scratching some of it, and
yeah.
And then if I take the dark side, then once again, I am adding white to this, to my shadow color. But this is where I would just go over the darker part of the tree. and then kind of blend it. Whoops, wrong brush. Not a great color, but it's all right. You get the point. I'm going over this.
Right.
And some of it I could leave.
Kind of softens the edge up. Huh?
Right. And you want, you have some lost edges and some hard edges, and then go over it again with some white. Then you have to play with your temperature, and then all of a sudden you have a tree. Just go right over this, but sometimes I'm just picking it up to know where to put edges. This is what I mean, go sideways, sideways, sideways. Obviously I'm doing this super fast. Put a couple more of those in. So fun. Whenever you put one of those little, notches, make sure you put a little white on top of it because it's sticking out, right? Anyway, crappy color, but you get the idea. So go over. I mean, basically what I'm trying to say is you're utilizing your background color by not, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, one more. Can I do one more?
You have time for one more. Yeah, the background color too kind of plays like your middle value, huh? You can
yeah,
yeah.
Exactly. Okay, this one I was going to do cad orange and transparent yellow green. Cad orange and transparent yellow green. It's interesting. I can't believe, I shouldn't say it that way. I want to put it nicely. How do I say it? I'm always puzzled at how difficult the washes are for people in my workshops. That, like my next workshop in Scottsdale, I'm going to bring a piece of this canvas for everybody, and I'm going to have everybody just do a wash because it's a, I'll have people just going like, like this, and then you get broken little tiny brush, and there's so many different ways to. I guess it's hard for me to understand why it's so hard. This is not coming out right.
It looks wonderful.
Anyway, this is transparent yellow, green, and cad orange.
And a cad really warms it up more than.
I know.
Yeah.
I wanted more green, actually. Okay, so now this one I'm gonna, since I happen to be working on oranges, this is a good way to explain. So I can look right over there, and they really have changed this pad. I mean, I still use it because I don't know what an alternative is. I mean, I love Rembrandt's, not Rembrandt's. Rembrandt surfaces too. I haven't.
Back up.
I don't think I've used them yet, Jeff. Sorry.
We don't. Yeah, we don't distribute the surfaces in North America. So. But they are available in the EU and the UK.
Well, I'd like a good alternative because, like I said, this is not like it used to be. This one is really nice because this is an old pad that I have. Okay, so if I'm painting an orange, I wiped out with a nice, beautiful hard edge. And I'm going to put my
Well, you know
a
what,
little
Kathy, I
shadow.
misspoke. I thought you were talking about canvases. We do have the Rembrandt oil paper.
The paper.
Yeah, yeah. I'll have to get you some if you haven't tried it. It's really nice.
Yeah, I would need to try it. We definitely would like to try it. So I'm going to go over the shadow side with, but I am picking up that background. I don't know if you can see how lightly I'm touching this. And then I'm going to use a little white, maybe a little cad yellow deep in with my orange. And this is another fun thing to do. Pat, make it like pat like this. I have white on here, so I'm not going to do that. I'll show you this in a minute. But here's my orange color. A little darker on the side. I'm going to take straight cad orange and a little bit of transparent oxide red. And you can just pat over this. I'm using a soft brush.
Yeah.
And you see how you can see the green underneath coming up. I mean, I don't have to do it that way. That's just one of the things that I can do, though.
Wet into wet techniques like that with oil touch is really important, isn't it? The pressure that you apply to the brush.
Absolutely important. And very hard to do, like if you're using a bristle brush or something, you know, that's why I use the soft brushes for that. Anyway, and that there you get your form. See, I love scrubbing now. This is something that I'm doing a lot of.
Looks like you're switching brushes up, right?
No, I'm
Not
just
same
using
brush?
brush. No, I haven't switched the brush. I'm just I'm wiping it, you know, with
Oh,
a
gotcha.
paper towel. That's all. Anyway, that's, you know, and then you just put, now I'm switching. And then you just put your little, you know, little thing, whatever you call that, where the stem comes out, the light around it.
Nice.
And that's all. So anyway, there's like you know, a million different things that you can use for those washes. And what's really fun is to practice. You know, you just to practice with different color combinations and see where you go. Like when I'm doing a white background, like I said earlier, that I use the cobalt and yellow ochre. It's a pretty gray background.
Oh yeah, that orange probably really pop on a cobalt background, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but see, I'm going to say one more thing. What you could do, look, what if I take some cobalt and white. What if I went over this background? Well, actually, if I was doing a painting, what I would do is go over this when that gold was dry.
Dry, yeah.
And then, anyway, that's all. I guess, right?
Yeah, Love it. Looks
I
great.
mean, what do you want?
Fantastic.
What do you want for 20 minutes?
Let me remove the spotlight here so we can talk back and forth again. That's
But
fantastic.
before you go, Jeff, unfold your arms. If you ever wonder whether she represents Rembrandt.
That is a well-used apron. I love it.
I know. They're all really used.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Kathy.
Oh,
I
you're so
have
welcome.
a couple questions for you. First of all, upcoming events, workshops, exhibitions. What's going on right now? What's coming up?
Well, I'm going to Scottsdale in 2 weeks, the 17th of February, for my annual Scottsdale workshop.
At the
And
Scottsdale Artist School?
Scottsdale Artist School. Yep.
Is
And
it filled up yet, or are there still spots?
pardon?
Is it filled up yet, or are there still spots
There's
available?
actually 4 spots left.
All right, folks. Get
4
out there.
spots left. Yeah, it's going to be a fun week. Keys is there the same week, and Richie Carter is there the same week. And Rosemary's coming from Rosemary & Co. So it's going to be
Fantastic.
fun week.
That
And
will be special.
I'm going to have 3 or 4 new paintings at Legacy Gallery that I'm shipping out. Hopefully, when I finish.
And where's Legacy Gallery at?
They're in Scottsdale.
In Scottsdale too.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and then yeah. And just my galleries, all my galleries are listed on my website, and with all the current work.
And I shared that in the chat for folks, your website, kathyandersonstudio.com.
Yes, thank you.
You
Thanks.
bet. You bet. So folks, definitely go to the website, check it out. You can see her upcoming schedule and more of her wonderful work.
Thank you, Jeff.
You bet. Well, thank you so much. This is a special show, especially the first one of the year. A great way to kick it off. The demonstration was wonderful and always great to chat with you.
You too, Jeff. Thank you so much. And I have to give a shout out to you and Rembrandt for helping a friend of a friend who lost her home in the LA fire. And I appreciate so much that you're helping her restock.
You bet. You bet. We're happy to do it. Such tragedy happening to folks down there. It's really sad.
It's very generous of you, though. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. All right, folks. Well, thank you for joining us today in the Creator Studio Live, first episode of 2025 here on YouTube. If you missed anything, no fear. You can go back and watch it again at your leisure. It will be up for perpetuity on our YouTube channel. So always go back, enjoy it, and you can pick up some things and pause it and do whatever you need to do. We do have a winner of the set, and I don't have the full name here, but it's Mom6163. Mom6163, you are the winner. So you want to send me a direct message at Royal Talens North America, Royal Talens NA, and I'll get your information and get you hooked up with a set of Rembrandt oils. So congratulations.
Wow. That's
and my next show, everybody's going to be on February 5th, same time, Wednesday, 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific time. We've got Justin Vining, another one of our ambassadors, wonderful painter, plein air painter, the hardest working artist I know, I think. But you'll love him, and we're going to chat with him, and he's going to do a demonstration as well. So make sure you catch us February 5th, Wednesday, 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific, and we'll see everybody there. And thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.